Faith tightened her ponytail and set off on the trail, the fog curling around her like a living entity. The mist wrapped around the trees and muffled every sound, creating an eerie silence that settled heavily on her shoulders. The woods had always been her escape, but today they felt like a trap. She adjusted her pace, her heartbeat louder than her footsteps. The crunch of gravel beneath her sneakers was her only company until she noticed a flicker of movement in the periphery of her vision. She whipped her head around. Nothing. Was it the mist playing tricks on her? She couldn't be sure, but unease prickled at her skin. Faith pressed forward, each step a battle against the growing sense of dread. Then she heard it, a second set of footsteps, slow, deliberate. They stopped when she stopped, echoing her movements like a sinister dance partner. Her breath quickened. Fear gripped her chest, tightening like a vice. She told herself to keep moving. Her legs felt heavy, her mind racing through possibilities. A shadow emerged in the mist, tall. Then, the piercing sound of sirens cut through the fog. Red and blue lights flashed in the distance, growing brighter and brighter. Carter froze, his head snapping toward the noise. Seconds later, the circle of cops surrounded them, weapons drawn. "Get on the ground!" one officer barked. Carter hesitated, then dropped to his knees. Faith's legs buckled, and she sank to the ground, tears streaming down her face. She looked up to see the circle of officers closing in, their faces blurred by the fog and her own exhaustion. A stretcher appeared, and paramedics carefully lifted the other woman first. One of them knelt beside Faith, checking her for injuries, before guiding her onto another stretcher. As they carried her out of the woods, the fog began to thin, the trail ahead becoming clearer. The hospital was a blur of fluorescent lights and hushed voices and whispers. Faith lay on the stretcher, her body trembling as the weight of the whole ordeal settled in deep inside of her. But one thought anchored her. Clarity had been her weapon. Even in the mist, even in the terror, she had survived.